The reality of the Holocaust. The Holocaust remains one of the darkest chapters in human history, a systematic, state-sponsored genocide that led to the extermination of 6 million Jews and millions of other innocent people. Conducted by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1941 and 1945, the Holocaust was not an accident of war, but a deliberate campaign rooted in anti-Semitic ideology and racial supremacy. Understanding the reality of the Holocaust is essential to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. Origins and ideology. The roots of the Holocaust lie in deep-seated anti-Semitism, which had existed in Europe for centuries. However, it was Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party who transformed this prejudice into a policy of genocide. The Nazis viewed Jews not only as an inferior race, but as a fundamental threat to German purity and prosperity. Their ideology, as outlined in Hitler's Mein Kampf, promoted the idea that Jews were responsible for Germany's economic struggles and social decline. Upon coming to power in 1933, the Nazi regime swiftly enacted discriminatory laws against Jews. The Nuremberg Laws of 1935 stripped German Jews of citizenship and forbade intermarriage between Jews and non-Jews. This legal discrimination was a first step towards a broader plan of exclusion and ultimately extermination, the path to genocide. Before resorting to mass murder, the Nazis explored ways to make Germany Judenfrei, free of Jews. Initially, they encouraged Jewish emigration and even considered deporting Jews to remote locations like Madagascar. However, as World War II progressed, these plans evolved into something far more sinister. The invasion of Poland in 1939 and the Soviet Union in 1941 marked the expansion of Nazi brutality. The Nazis established ghettos in occupied Poland, confining Jews in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions where disease and starvation ran rampant. At the same time, mobile killing units called Einsatzgruppen followed the German army into Eastern Europe, massacring entire Jewish communities in mass shootings. The infamous Wannsee Conference of January 1942 solidified the Nazis' final solution: the systematic extermination of Jews through industrialized murder. This marked the transition from random killings to an organized, bureaucratic process of genocide. The death camps. The Nazis constructed a network of concentration and extermination camps across occupied Europe, with the most infamous being Auschwitz-Birkenau. Other major camps included Treblinka, Sobibor, Belzec, and Majdanek. Jews were transported to these camps in horrific conditions, packed into cattle cars without food, water, or sanitation. Many died before even reaching their destinations. Upon arrival, victims were often subjected to a selection process. Those deemed fit for labor were temporarily spared, while others, including children, the elderly, and the sick, were sent directly to gas chambers disguised as showers. The Nazis used Zyklon B gas to execute thousands at a time, disposing of bodies in crematoria. Beyond gassing, the camps subjected inmates to brutal forced labor, medical experiments, starvation, and relentless abuse. Figures like Dr. Joseph Mengele conducted inhumane experiments on prisoners, including children, under the guise of scientific research, resistance, and survival. Despite the overwhelming power of the Nazi regime, Jewish resistance was widespread. In ghettos, underground movements organized uprisings, such as the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising of 1943, where a small group of Jewish fighters held off Nazi forces for nearly a month. In concentration camps, prisoners orchestrated revolts